Sandra Pollock, and you will find that I'll be sharing all sorts of things that I do, and I do get up to all sorts of things. Now, coming up to Christmas, I'm actually making some gifts for my friends and family, and it's a little Christmas tree, and this one is two colours, it's the green and the red, and this one is all red but with some decoration. So I bought some material, just any sort of Christmas material will do, and you have to cut out some templates. It's quite a bit of work, but as you can see, it's well worth it. Now this is supposed to be a surprise, so don't tell anyone, not before Christmas, okay? Right. So there are several bits that you have to cut out. Like this is 2 triangles. You actually need 11 double-sided triangles, and this is a green, 2 different types of green that I'm working on in this one. And one side is like that, and the other side is, let me see, one that I haven't sewn up yet, is like this. So you'll get a lovely mix of the 2 sides when I sew them up and fold them up and make them into this gorgeous Christmas tree. You also need to cut out your, let me see if I can find, and make a little pot, and that has a bit of stuff inside just to give it a little body, and then the tree. And as you can see, that's not absolutely perfect, but you know what, I'm not a seamstress, I'm a fun mum, and I love to make things and just try things out. And this goes on to the bottom here. So if you count, they're little, you have the little shapes that I'll show you how to make as we go along. So I am in the process of sewing up my triangles together, and you sew obviously the right side facing in, and then we will be turning these inside out, and I can show you, this is the red one, so you've got plain red, and then you have the red with that lovely design on it. So we will give these a little bit of an iron to flatten them out, and then we begin to make a shape. So as we go along, that's it, sort of ironed and creased. So half and then a quarter. Those are so that you have the points that you want to move and make things into. And you fold the corners in like that. So you tack the corners in just like that. Okay, and then you sew those in. And once you've sewn them in, then you fold them back again. So you can see there I've sewn those corners in there. And then you fold them back. And I'm going to show you this as I do it later on, but just giving you an idea. So that's the first fold, and you would tack those in with your needle and thread. And once you've done that, you turn it to the back, and then you would then fold that down. You can probably hear my cat outside meowing. And you fold that, the insides in like that, and tack those in. Doesn't look very good in my hand, but it eventually looks like this. Then once you have 10 of those, you will put those together and formulate the Christmas tree. So I will stop at each stage and show you how each little bit is done, and then the other things that you add to them. So that's just an overview. I'll stop and show you each little bit as I go along. So thank you for looking and watching, and remember, I'm not claiming to be a seamstress, I'm just a fun mum that likes to do silly things like this. See you soon. Okay, so I'm just having a cup of tea. So for this, I actually bought a template from some ladies in Uppingham. Actually, it's a Rotary Club, and they had a thing in an event in July, I think it was, and I got this template. So I've actually got, you know, the shapes that I want. So you want the main, the bigger triangle. You want, actually, it says 10 here, but actually you need 11. Then you have the a simple template for the pot, and a square that you will fold in half for the trunk. So at the moment anyhow, I'm working on the triangle template, which we will fold to make into the little bits that go to make the Christmas tree. So I've already cut some pieces out, and you'll remember from before I said that it would be good to have two different patterns, so that as you fold things out you pick up the beautiful colours and shapes and that sort of thing. So I'm just about to sew up the triangles for another Christmas tree, and I'll just show you again what I am making. So that one, I like this one because of the two colours. So I'm sewing up actually the triangles that go to make these shapes. Okay, so I'm just going to ask my hubby Mike if he wants to come a little closer with the camera so that I can show how I'm going to be sewing. So clearly I've got the needle and the machine all threaded and raring to go. I'm trying to find my foot pedal here, which is a bit of a laugh because it's out of the way. And yes, it's cold in the conservatory, so I've got my things on. So, right. So remember, I'm not a specialist machinist. I am just a fun person. So you want to sew your triangles so that you also leave a little bit of a gap, because you're going to turn it inside out. So once it's sewn up, you trim it as close to that as possible, and then you turn it inside out so that you get the colours. So that's all I'm doing here. And I put the needle down, turn it around. So I've started halfway along one of the edges. As close to the edge. It really doesn't matter if it's within or if it's not straight. I wouldn't worry about things like that. I push the needle down and then turn it, and I want to stop about there so that I have space to turn it inside out. There you go. So hi again, I have completed all of the bits, that is in terms of sewing them up with the machine and leaving a little gap so that I can turn them inside out. So the next stage really is just to cut the excess material off and round the corners. So I just round a corner first, just like, it doesn't have to be perfectly round, but you're just cutting off that extra material so that when you turn it inside out, it doesn't thicken up at the edges and it doesn't bulk up at the edges. So that's the next stage. So I'm going to quickly cut this one out just around the edges. Don't worry too much about it. As close as you can get without obviously cutting the stitches. If you happen to do that, just throw it onto the machine again and run over that space so that you can tighten it up. So just cut that out, and then you turn it. If I can get my fingers, it's always, you really turn it inside out, just quickly as I can. Turn it inside out, and I usually get a knitting needle or a crochet needle or even a paintbrush that I have sitting there, and push the edges out just like that and just like that. Now you will you're going to tack those that little gap, seam it in just a little bit, but there you go. So, and then the next thing I would do is to just take the iron and just iron that iron that over just like that. So you can see you've got two lovely different sides, and when we get to the stage where we're actually going to make the shape, then you'll see how those two sides fit really well together. So that's as simple as that. So I've got, gosh, I'm making 6 so I've got a few more to work on before I come back, but I'll be back again to show you the next stage. Okay, have fun.